Hello and welcome to this video explaining the types of work that SlideHub offers on the service feature. Besides providing our clients with our add-in platform, we also offer them the chance to use our on-demand service feature where SlideHub takes your slides and makes improvements to its design according to your guidelines and requests. Here we have the types of work that SlideHub offers: Brush-up, Visual Enhancement, Recreation, and Not-Standard tasks. Brush-up ensures alignment, coloring, and consistency across slides. It has no changes to the structure or addition of new elements. Brush-up is usually used for report presentations or other types of content-heavy presentations with graphs and a lot of content. It is also used for internal presentations and any other cases that do not require the slides to be very visually interesting to the audience, but still need to be company branding compliant. Visual enhancement includes the same points as brush-up, plus it improves the structure of the content and/or adds new graphical elements, turning the slides more interesting to the viewer. Visual enhancement is usually used for marketing presentations, sales pitches, big audience presentations, or other cases requiring eye-catching and creatively designed slides. Recreation involves converting the input into editable PowerPoint shapes and text. It includes brush-up by default, but you can also request for recreation and visual enhancement if needed. Recreation is usually used for handwritten notes, pictures, screenshots, post-it notes, photos of whiteboards, PDFs, and any other cases where content needs to be recreated. Not-standard tasks are tasks that fall outside of the standard work SlideHub usually does. For these tasks, we require specific instructions and inspiration to be provided by the clients. Standard tasks is usually used for PowerPoint template creations or work inside the PowerPoint Slide Master, creating brochures, posters, or other not standard formats, creating icons, logos, illustrations, or other graphical elements that might require additional software other than PowerPoint, like Photoshop, Illustrator, or similar, and any other similar tasks. You can always send your request our way and we will let you know if we can help you. Note that these tasks usually take 48 hours or more of turnaround, depending on the amount of work required. Now let's consider the average scope for each type of work that SlideHub offers. For brush-up, we have 3 to 5 slides per 1 hour. For visual enhancement, we have 1 to 2 slides per 1 hour. For recreation, we have 1 to 2 slides per 1 hour. And for non-standard tasks, it fully depends on the complexity of the work required. Please note that all deadlines depend on the scope of the task. Our project managers will make an estimation of the work considering all its aspects, such as our current service capacity, the size of the project, the complexity of the slides, and they will send you a confirmation email with the estimated deadline. Please note that all tasks have a minimum charge of 1.4 credits, and the hourly estimation of the work is not equal to the project's deadline. The reason why we have 1.4 hours minimum is that when using our service, each task is executed with 2 layers of quality control. First a designer, and before returning the deliverable, a project manager. The 2 layers give you a consistent experience and quality every time you use SlideHub. Furthermore, there is a fixed amount of time spent on client communication and posting of the projects. We suggest sending tasks in bulk as much as you can to make the best use of the minimum 1.4 hours charge. Please note when we're talking about hours or credits, it is the same. In terms of deadline estimations, our average medium turnaround is 8 hours and our minimum turnaround is 3 hours when having good service capacity. We also have links in the description below explaining more what is the service capacity. Here we have a table showing the different characteristics for the different types of work. Please feel free to pause the video to have a closer look. Now let's consider the SlideHub company guidelines for the examples that we will see on the following slides. You can see the style is very clean. It uses lines for the headings, but it can also use box style for the secondary headings. It has the blue colors as the main colors, the pink has a highlight, and it uses line style for the icons. You can see the overall style of the slides is very clean. So now let's consider this input slide and its output slide that is brushed up. You can right off the bat see that this new slide fully matches the company guidelines and style. So now let's consider the changes that we made. So firstly, we fitted all the content inside the slide frame. So you can see by these red lines that the content in the initial input slide is not inside the slide frame, but the output slide is fully inside it and is fully consistent throughout all the slides. Then the colors were updated to match the client's color palette. So you can see here we're using greens, grays, and blues, and now we're using the correct colors for the client based on the guidelines. Then the text like title and subtitle were also adjusted to fit the correct placement. So you can see here the title and subtitle were off here, now they're correct, and also the page number was incorrect and now it's fully correct. Then the animations were kept and adjusted to have the correct order. So you can see here in the input it's 1, 2, 4, 3, and now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 based on the order of the content. The font type, size, and format was also fixed per the guidelines. So you can see here the text was center aligned and now it's all left aligned. Then the box's style was also changed to match the client guidelines. So you can see the main heading is now line heading and the secondary heading is box heading, whereas here was all box heading. Alignments and spacing of boxes were also fixed to be consistent on the slide and the next slide. So you can see here, this spacing is all the same, but here we had less space here and more space here, which was inconsistent. Here we can see a visually enhanced slide of the same input slide we looked at before. You can see that visual enhancement applies the same principles as BrushUp, but has the added step of enhancing the slide structure and adding icons. So you can see here this structure was changed slightly, and we also added an icon here. And now we can see an option of the same slide where we just change the structure a little bit more. Now we have this input example for the output recreation slide, and you can see here the client left some yellow instructions for us, which we call yellow stickers. So the first instruction is to convert this green template to the SlideHub template, and we also have to delete the content that is crossed out with an X, and we have this highlight here on this column. So now let's see the result. So this would be the result of the recreation. You can see the recreation output is matching the company style and rules. So now let's consider the changes that we made. So we recreated the picture into the SlideHub template according to the instructions of the client, and we are also following the company guidelines. So for example, we are using Thanksall for the graphs instead of the standard Microsoft graphs. Recreation automatically includes all the same points as BrushUp, so you can see that this slide was brushed up following the company rules. So we have lines for the headings, we are using the company colors, and everything is matching the company style. But you can also request recreation and visual enhancement if needed. So if you would like this slide to be visually enhanced, you can also ask for that in particular. But as a standard, all recreations already include BrushUp. We also recommend writing any handwritten text in capital letters whenever possible. It just makes it easier for the reader to better understand the text, especially if it's not in an English language. If we do not understand some text, we will mark it in red inside these red placeholder brackets. These example yellow stickers are not always needed, but very recommended, especially if you have specific instructions on a certain slide. Now let's consider the input of a not standard task. So here we can see the instructions for the task. So we have to use the SlideHub website as inspiration. We have to create an A4 poster with an illustration of a factory, and we can reuse the current SlideHub template to be in A4. In the factory illustration, please show the process steps of receiving an order on a computer, the manufacturing of the order on a conveyor belt with machines and humans. And please include this content on the poster. So we can see here, this is a content that needs to be added. And here would be the output. So you can see we are still following the SlideHub style and rules. We are using the SlideHub template. We just converted it to A4, and we made the illustration as per the instructions from the client using their content provided. Please keep in mind that we do not edit content or do any sort of calculations. This means that we cannot summarize the content that you have on your slides or reinterpret it to have less text, nor can we work inside Excel and do data formatting for you. Our final deliverable files are always in PowerPoint, but you can submit any format file as an input for us to work on. If you also require a PDF as the final file, we can send that alongside the PowerPoint file as well. Note that the deliverables you get depend on the instructions provided. If you use our language, we will get closer to your needs. So it tremendously helps our clients when they become familiar with the terms we use, like BrushUp and visual enhancement, and it's much faster to provide instructions to SlideHub this way. We welcome you to have a look at the links in the description below for more information and examples on each type of work that SlideHub offers and how to send instructions and tasks to SlideHub. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you on our platform.